Stop, please don't click off. Watch this video until the very end, otherwise you could miss something amazing. Like, comment, share, and subscribe.
Hello guys, today I'm playing the Stranded Left 4 Dead 2 custom map. It was created this month and updated just a couple of days ago. It has a simple premise, with the 4 classic survivors Joey, Francis, Bill, and Louis finding their way out of the woods after their transport crashes. They venture through 2 whole bases, a parking garage, and a town before ending up in the woods once more, this time at a house where a helicopter rescues them. I played on expert difficulty, since I'm not A, but I am a critical, and this campaign was a mess. Let me explain why. A lot of your interactions, you need to spam press the key just for the to work. Chapter 1, for example, has an elevator that alerts a horde. Hence, you alert the horde 20 different times because it can't work the first time. Chapter 1 is also where I obtained the thumbnail image, and I'm not sure if it's genuinely incomplete or if it's because I spam pressed the elevator. However, the map was broken as hell. It felt like my computer suddenly caught a virus. It was that bad. Additionally, before you reach that part, Chapter 1's woods are challenging to navigate, and I had to restart the campaign solely because I got stuck somewhere. At least later chapters have more visible direction arrows, so I can only blame myself if I get stuck from there on out. There was a guaranteed tank and witch here, and spoiler alert, they are guaranteed in every chapter. Chapter 2 made me contemplate suicide. Not only did the spam horde thing recur, but the safe room lacks guns and medkits, except for if you start the campaign right on Chapter 2. The horde issue was overall worse than in Chapter 1, since you got them constantly and in a bad spot. It was also strangely short, as evidenced by the fact that I only had 20 seconds of footage, solely because I didn't expect it to end that quickly. I could have redone the footage, but this video is already late. I'm not making it any later. I would also be wary of this campaign if you have epilepsy, because the stairwell, which had one of the horde timings, has constantly flickering lights. The first tank you see attacks you at the same time as a horde. And that isn't the only time a tank plus horde jumps you in this campaign. If I didn't have left for bots, this may have been unbeatable. Finally, the safe room has you shoot a bundle of Molotovs to clear the path, and I had to wait for like 3 minutes. NPCs, if you are too close to the room, will try to waltz through the fire, quickly dying. Chapter 3 has something strange, which is an abundance of locked doors. Not like doors that can't be interacted with, those are also in normal Left 4 Dead 2 maps. I'm referring to interactive doors that won't open, and there are too many of them. Things get confusing, but you eventually find your way after trying and checking. The same problems, such as rampant hordes and weird level design, continue on, but this is one of the less egregious chapters. Chapter 4, although it has something pretty cool that I'll mention here soon, has to be the buggiest chapter ever. NPC paving is utterly, so you legit have to solo a tank while they are left behind until they're forced to teleport to you. Not to mention the long and egregious walks from one interactive prompt to the next, and what seems to be a dead end until you get inside a truck with some hard-to-notice buttons. This is where the cool part comes in, as you are meant to stay in the vehicle and drive through a massive horde of zombies, which are protected by mounted guns that easily mow them down. Beware, it has an overheating cooldown. The only problem with the truck part is janky speed mechanics, as it moves at a snail's pace, then suddenly speeds up by a multiple of 20. NPC paving, for me at least, up again right at the safe room, so I had to turn on friendly fire and kill them just to progress to the last chapter. And Chapter 5 isn't all that bad, but I may say that because it's finally over. After exploring yet another base with unnecessarily long corridors, messed up lighting, and unbalanced hordes, you finally end up in that secondary forest I mentioned earlier. It's a standard rescue mission where you have to wait a while and kill a bunch of zombies. Surprisingly, it is a lot more tolerable here than it was in all the previous chapters, especially since you have good vantage points to shoot down zombies and a decent chunk of resources. Afterwards, you go onto the roof of the house to board the helicopter and complete the campaign. Rockford Station was a 4 out of 5, Stranded, however, is a 3 out of 10. Whoever put this on the L4D2 workshop must have confused it with an Asian sweatshop, because this has made in China written all over it. With no disrespect intended, please go back to the drawing board. With the map review complete, I'd like to discuss ROBLOX again. This came to mind after I've heard radio ads and seen YouTube ads offering compensation for victims of grooming and sexual misconduct on the platform. It's the same story. Starts on ROBLOX, then it's taken off-site to places like Discord, which have fewer regulations and censorship. I know I mentioned it before in videos like the one I made in 2023, where I announced my departure, which is the only genuine ROBLOX video I have left. The rest are unlisted, or this year, where I followed up on that video. Even more so, given that I discussed Zombie Uprising Gooners, as I used to be a YouTuber for that game specifically before quitting. At this point, I can only ask one question: how? How did ROBLOX, which true, had some up cases in the past, exponentially get worse within the last 3 years? How were the martyrs made out of ROBLOX YouTubers who combated predators, which were Rubensim and Schlepp? How did the platform I grew up with get hit with a multitude of lawsuits, bans, exposes, and overall controversies in just 2025 alone? And the answer to how is incredibly, yet saddeningly simple. Look up the net worth of ROBLOX. They prioritize profit over security, as proper security measures can cost them millions, if not billions of dollars, even if it's the right thing to do. Look up ROBLOX in the stock exchange. It is a publicly traded company, meaning investors can request what they want out of ROBLOX. A lot of these people are obviously wealthy, likely old, business people who either simply don't give a or are sick in the head, like all the groomers and condo players. It's probably them who are asking for all the drastic, inappropriate changes related to 18 features and ROBLOX dating. Which, by the way, was against the terms of service and made you a massive target for trolls in my day. Not to say David himself is 100% innocent. Hell, he isn't even 50% innocent, because if he had any semblance of morals, he would risk losing the company if it meant keeping children safe. He has a son and 3 daughters, for crying out loud. How can you, as a man, have children and then let other kids suffer egregious things you can easily prevent with your money? I suffered through ROBLOX, being groomed into the ERP scene, and this was way back in around 2015. Sure, I had the wherewithal to back out of it, but I was a child. The person who taught me was only a couple of years older, taught by someone older than them. Children are not always unaware of right and wrong. Still, they are most susceptible to malicious or improper behavior and face immense difficulty in overcoming that mindset. And that was 10 years ago. It is way worse nowadays. I wasn't blackmailed during my stint in the ERP community, but a lot of children these days are. They are manipulated and or threatened with info leaks, swattings, videos, hacking, and direct violence. They are psychologically manipulated into thinking that experiencing an SFW stuff online while underage is okay and that it's normal. They are emotionally manipulated by being made dependent on their groomer, whether financially or functionally. But most importantly, children are afraid. Not just scared of the outcomes of going against their groomer, but also fearful of any consequences their caretakers might implement. Predators know these concepts to trap a child in their grasp, because it's all about control and corruption. And that's what ROBLOX as a corporation is doing. Controlling the narrative and corrupting the youth. The former doesn't apply, seeing as many people hate ROBLOX with all their hearts, but some demographics still don't get it. These are parents who don't know or care, children who don't care or understand anything, and investors who don't know or care. Creators who are either actively trying to groom kids on ROBLOX with their status or are too insecure in a monetary end or skill sets to transfer their talents and teams onto other platforms. Creators who will die on a sinking ship, being optimistic that ROBLOX will improve as a platform. Newsflash, it will never get better. They had years to improve their security, increase the number of moderators, change the twos to punish predators and e-daters, and restore community faith. I mentioned this before, but I quit full-time ROBLOX in 2023 when all of these issues were fairly present. How on earth did it get tremendously worse in only 2 years? Because it's all about money and power, rather than morals. That is the case with all big corporations, but at least most of them don't cosplay as a kid's platform. ROBLOX can't be considered a family-friendly platform. Because moderating pedophiles, e-daters, criminals, and inappropriate actors costs too much money and effort, they're shifting the platform bit by bit so they don't have to do anything. Apparently, this is acceptable. People are supposed to sit around and let it happen. A lot of people aren't happy in reality, but that's what Roblox expects of their player base. And I bet that's how they're going to escape this ongoing frenzy of lawsuits, compensation advertisements, subpoenas, and news networks. They will claim that they were always a platform that leaned towards adult content, even though that is a blatant lie. Roblox, even to this day, is aimed towards children and has children as its biggest player base. Yet when a child signs up on their platform, they're unsafe in a heartbeat. They are snacks for groomers and overall disgusting people. Either that, or Roblox will spend a considerable amount of money behind the scenes to try to control the narrative again. However, their fate was sealed when they began targeting the YouTubers. Should have left Schlep and Ruben Sim alone, but nope, let's go after people who are trying to help us out. And pray that the outrage will eventually die down, whether that takes months or years. We win in the end anyway, because people can't talk forever. That is what Roblox thinks of you. And I doubt it ends from a corporate standpoint, because a business that's actually competent would do the things I and many others said to do. I wholeheartedly believe that the higher-ups like David Bashutsky and Matt Kaufman, alongside a chunk of their active workers and investors, are predators themselves or are being financially carried by predators. There's no other logical explanation. There was a theory I read somewhere that stated David is intentionally tanking his company, as mentioned on Ruben Sim's community tab. In my honest and most heartfelt opinion, that's plausible. Still, it's not because he regrets making Roblox public or anything like that. Bashutsky is attempting to safeguard himself and the sickos in his corner. It's just like the Epstein files, with our president promising they would be released but later refusing to, most likely because he and a lot of his associates are on the list. Wrap it up, folks. Roblox is over, and so is this video. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. I know I'm a day late, and I apologize. I was juggling other commitments while creating this video, and I'll prepare ahead of time from now on. Take care of yourselves, and peace out.